Inside this food processing plant, a worker steps in front of an active transfer pump to check a vibrating hose. The fitting loosens unexpectedly. Stay clear of the direct line of an active fluid system and avoid leaning over an unsecured hose fitting while a machine is running. Inside a busy service center, a technician stands in front of an open service pit as a vehicle rolls forward. The car continues moving toward the pit-side work area. Keep out of the path of an approaching vehicle, even during slow, routine parking, and do not assume the driver will maintain perfect pedal control. A foot slipping from brake to accelerator or a simple judgment error can send the vehicle forward with sudden movement. Supervisors should enforce a strict exclusion zone in front of moving vehicles, particularly near pits, lifts, or narrow work areas. Anyone guiding a driver should stand off to the side, maintain clear visibility, and use simple hand signals. In this elevated parking lot, an unattended car begins rolling backward toward a retaining wall. Within seconds, it rolls past the marked parking boundary. Secure every parked vehicle on a slope by fully engaging the hand brake and confirming the transmission is securely set in park or gear. A parked vehicle may seem stable, but gravity is always acting on it, and even a slight incline can become unsafe if the braking system is not properly applied. Drivers should make using the handbrake a non-negotiable habit every time they exit a vehicle, regardless of how level the ground appears. Wheel position, transmission setting, and parking brake should all be checked before stepping away. Inside a high-rise in Beirut, workers overload a passenger elevator with heavy tiles. Suddenly, the overloaded lift becomes unstable. Use only equipment rated for dense construction materials and respect the posted weight capacity of every lift or hoist. Passenger elevators are built for human traffic, not concentrated industrial loads such as tile, cement, or stone. When the system is overloaded, the strain placed on cables, braking components, and support mechanisms can place the equipment under unsafe mechanical stress. Contractors should use freight elevators or approved material hoists whenever moving heavy building supplies. Dense materials should be broken into smaller loads and transported in multiple trips rather than forcing a single overloaded movement. At a rain-soaked facility entrance, a truck carries a tall stack of foam blocks. A sudden crosswind catches the load, pushing it off balance and shifting it sideways. Match oversized, high-profile cargo with the right transport conditions and vehicle capability, instead of relying on straps alone to keep the load under control during high wind conditions. Large, lightweight material can act like a sail in crosswinds, placing heavy sideways stress on the truck bed, mounting points, and overall vehicle balance. Even if the cargo is tightly secured, wind pressure can still destabilize the vehicle or damage structural components. Fleet managers should match bulky wind-sensitive loads with vehicles designed to handle their size and aerodynamic profile. Weather conditions must be reviewed before dispatch, and high wind warnings should trigger postponement rather than risk-taking. At a demolition site, a worker attempts to remove material from the lower section of a masonry column with hand tools. The weakened structure loses stability and moves outward. Maintain full structural caution around tall masonry walls by avoiding base undercutting with hand tools and staying outside the potential movement area. A wall may appear stable until the exact point its lower support is compromised, at which time the structure can lose stability and move without clear warning. Demolition work should follow a controlled top-down process using proper equipment, elevated platforms, or heavy machinery positioned at a safe distance. At a loading dock, a worker carries a tall stack of heavy rice bags down wooden stairs. The unstable load shifts, causing him to lose stable footing. Carry only manageable loads on stairways, and do not let pride or haste replace safe lifting practice. Stairways demand balance, visibility, and controlled footing, all of which are reduced when a worker is overloaded. A shifting stack held too high or too heavy can block sight lines, strain the spine and legs, and make it very difficult to regain balance if the carrier stumbles or loses strength. Supervisors should require the use of hand trucks, carts, conveyors, or team handling methods for bulk movement, especially on stairs or uneven surfaces. If manual lifting is unavoidable, Workers should carry one manageable load at a time and keep it close to the body. In an industrial yard, a worker walks backward on a flatbed truck without checking behind him. One misstep takes him outside the safe walking area. Stay forward-facing when working near the edge of an elevated flatbed, loading deck, or truck bed, and maintain continuous awareness of your position. Loss of footing incidents at height often happen during ordinary movement, not dramatic mistakes. Workers on elevated surfaces should stay forward-facing whenever possible and keep the platform edge in view. Materials, tools, and foot traffic should be arranged so people do not need to back into blind areas. A safe working position is usually toward the center of the deck, away from open edges. At an active loading yard, a worker stands between a truck and a pile of loose soil. Suddenly, the unstable dirt shifts forward into the narrow gap. Keep yourself out of pinch points between a stationary vehicle and an unsupported mound of soil, debris, or heavy equipment. Loose material can shift suddenly, even when it appears still, and that movement can pin a worker against nearby equipment almost immediately. Site supervisors should establish exclusion zones so workers do not enter pinch points between vehicles and unstable loads. Tasks should be planned with clear access and exit paths, especially around trucks, loader buckets, or spoil piles. Inside a busy auto shop, engine oil spills across the floor unnoticed. Moments later, someone steps into it and loses traction immediately. Remove open containers of industrial fluid from busy work areas immediately because they create an immediate slip hazard for others nearby. Oil, coolant, or similar liquids can spread quickly across smooth flooring, reducing traction and turning a normal walkway into an unsafe surface. Workers should use sealed or stable collection containers and remove them from active walking paths as soon as fluid transfer is complete. Any spill, even a small one, should be cleaned immediately with absorbent material and clearly marked until the floor is safe again. At a construction site, a crane lifts a large sheet of glass using basic slings. While elevated, the unsupported panel moves out of stable alignment while suspended. Use proper lifting systems when moving large architectural glass and keep everyone away from the restricted area around a suspended fragile load. Glass is strong in some directions and extremely vulnerable in others, especially when pressure is applied unevenly at the edges. Improper rigging can create stress points, bending, or loss of control, creating a serious risk in the surrounding work zone. Inside this supply room, a worker climbs an unanchored shelving unit to reach the top stock. The moment his weight shifts, the entire rack becomes unstable and leans forward. Do not climb on industrial shelving or use it as a makeshift ladder, and never leave freestanding racks unanchored to the wall or floor. To prevent this, facilities must anchor all storage racks to structural supports or concrete and remove the chance of instability. Workers should use approved ladders or step stools to reach high shelves, never the shelving itself. A storage rack is not designed to act like climbing equipment.